signal to the world that we are open for business.
We are now open for business. This is 𝗗𝗶𝗴𝗏𝗧𝗩 bringing you yet another episode to guide you in discovering your passion and growing your business as we learn from experts in the field. Sama-sama tayong matuto sa isa na namang makabuluhang usapan tungo sa pagpapaunlad ng inyong negosyo. Ang Open for Business ay mapapanood nyo rin sa Facebook at YouTube. Siguraduhin mag-like at mag-subscribe sa aming social media page at Net25TV. Alamin natin, suriin mula sa mga negosyante, thought leaders at mga personalidad sa iba't ibang larangan ang mga strategies, trends at mahalagang karanasan sa pagninegosyo dahil tayo ay open for business. The wings of change have certainly landed at the Philippine Airlines with its youngest President and COO, Captain Stanley Ng, taking the pilot's seat. Philippine Airlines is cleared for takeoff as it cruises on higher altitudes of profitability, modernization, streamlining, and customer service reinforcement as the flag carrier flies to sustained recovery.
This portion is brought to you by
Mamasyal.
Magandang ideya.
Apir,
Dadali ko sana kayo sa Malacanang eh.
Malacanang yung bahay ng presidente ba yan?
Kasi sinabi ko lang na harap sila sa presidente para sumama sila rito.
Lola May, hindi ko makita yung YouTube mo.
Meron yan. Isang tanong, isang daan. Ako nagpahusig nun.
Ayan, Lola May, mapapanood na kita.
Finally, nakapili na ako dun sa dalawang nanliligaw sa akin. Kaya ang pipiliin ko ay si Rudy.
Lihim pala kayong nakaraan nitong ni Rudy.
Ito kasi si Chris eh. Agi ako kinukurot kung kailan ko na daw siya sasagutin. Gusto ko naman talaga siya eh. Ang problema, hindi siya gusto ng magulang ko.
Sa akin sabihin, hindi ka pa rin niya sinasagot. Alam mo, minsan kasi, pinipilit natin yung iba na maging sa atin.
Yung mga advice niyo po ba sa akin, na-apply niyo sa sarili niyo?
Hindi nga eh!
Philippine Airlines is soaring towards a new era of growth, focusing on innovation, sustainability, and exceptional customer service. Let's get to know more about that mabuhay spirit with Philippine Airlines as we take a closer look at the industry landscape and pulse exciting plans for the future. Please welcome Pilot, Philippine Air Force Reservist, President and COO of Philippine Airlines, Captain Stanley Ng. Captain Stanley, we were both at the PCCI General Assembly, and one of the interesting things that we heard there was the modernization or privatization of the Manila International Airport. What's your take on that?
It's a very good initiative from the government to really improve the efficiency of our airport. The opportunity for growth really is to have a good infrastructure for us to be able to have more efficient operations, drive more traffic to the Philippines as well.
There's a lot of plans before that modernization, and we received a lot of reports on this modernization, and so far it affected your operations for the typical or the regular PAL customer. I know that you've been with customer service as well. What is this privatization or modernization? How will it impact on the Filipino customer?
So this is really important because we want to make it an amazing experience for not just Filipino citizens, but also the foreigners as well coming into the country. Because if they experience seamless travel, like airport processing and actually it's as a whole, even immigration processes and customs, everyone working at the airport, not just the airline, has to work together to make this happen. And now we have a private sector that's doing the airport modernization. And one thing I've heard, they're going to increase the movement of Manila Airport as well. So it means more flights into and out of our country, which will make traveling to the Philippines more convenient. One additional pillar is to improve the digitalization process at the airport. For example, using biometrics, like other countries, for example, Singapore, they're also doing that maybe starting 2-3 years ago, and it was proven to be quite successful. I myself, I've experienced it. It's a breeze to go through immigration in Singapore and customs. So I heard those will be part of the plan of the modernization process.
Yeah, that's interesting to know, Captain Stanley. But having you mention Singapore, you've traveled all over the world. Wala na sigurong ibang, wala ka ng bansa na hindi pa napuntahan. But that's a sad part. A lot of us Filipinos, di ba, when we go to international airports, when we arrive at the international airports of different countries, we are awed, by how beautiful these airports are. And then when we go back to the Philippines, once you land, you embark from the aircraft, and then you see the airport, parang the tendency is that you always compare what you have and how sad or how poor the country is. What's your take on that? Do you see also the improvement, in the horizon, and in terms of course, during the talk of Secretary Go, there were a lot of government initiatives to attract foreign investments. Pero ito ba nakikita mo sa malapit ng panahon? Like say for example, the term of President Marcos.
I think it will happen within the term of President BBM. He has actually prioritized tourism. As we all know, we've been pushing so hard to market the Philippines as a destination for a lot of foreigners. And several provinces like Siargao, El Nido, they're getting more and more popular sa mga foreigners. Tama ho yung sinabi nyo, it's the infrastructure that's really limiting us. Hopefully we'll be able to see improvements, no? I think in the next 2 years, we will see the improvement already, because some of these things are not hard to implement. Let's say the biometrics I mentioned earlier, the facial recognition, that will definitely help the throughput of the airport. Definitely we can process more people with shorter amount of time, and that also translates into productivity and efficiency for the airline and for the customers as well, for the passengers. They will have a seamless experience, so they will keep coming back. That's also one way really to showcase our airport. If we have parang nakita na sa other countries, we're impressed. So that's what we want also to show our visitors here in the Philippines. They should be impressed with our infrastructure eventually. So at least the government is really pushing hard on that, and together with Department of Tourism and DOTR as well, to really make our airport world class. So I think it will happen, really. I'm optimistic about it.
Okay, that's good to know, Captain Stanley. But you mentioned about digitalization as well. With digitalization, which is part of the fourth industrial revolution, like we have artificial intelligence, we never thought that the key driver of the fourth industrial revolution is not technology, but it might be COVID-19. But my question there is, because you're very young, a millennial, is digitalization part of the strategy of Philippine Airlines? Or is it because being a millennial, you are attuned to that digitalization strategy? Or was it fast-tracked by COVID-19?
Yeah, definitely. Before COVID, I believe no one is comfortable doing online meetings. But with COVID-19, we didn't have a choice. So we have to learn how to do online meetings, and it's proven effective as well. We get more things done. However, we just have to be careful with those meetings because sometimes the work-life balance will be affected because there's no limit anymore. You can't jump from one meeting to the other by just sitting down in your house. That was quite difficult also for me personally. So during that time, because the meetings were back to back, and after one, you can just continue with another meeting. Compared to right now, I can say we're about 80% back to on-site meetings. Like today, I'm here. The travel time, it's kind of a rest also, right?
So it's back to normal.
In a way. So I think it's really understanding technology as well as know its limit, because we also understand all those technology, AI can be also a data privacy risk. There should always be balance in terms of using technology and as well as respecting the privacy of the people.
You know, having you mentioned that consumer behavior, we see that the consumers' behaviors are also changing, not only with different commodities, how they buy, how they book, diba? But what is your observation of the public who frequently fly? Is there a research study or studies of, you know, this post-pandemic wherein people change their lifestyles or their behavior as far as traveling?
In terms of online booking, before pandemic, we got way more travel agencies booking. But after pandemic, I think people are more tech savvy already, and they can book their flights using their phone at their convenience anytime. So we've seen our online channel improve significantly in terms of customer behavior.
Pero Captain Stan, nagbago ba yung business model niyo? Like say for example, di ba parang before we see a lot of
ticket
offices.
That's right.
Yun, did you see some sort of a reduction in those and then you shifted online?
Some other places, we've seen reduction yung engagement in the ticket office in terms of buying tickets. However, we also use those ticket offices to service our customers because sometimes they'll encounter issues, the rebooking or other things that they might need the airline to assist them. In terms of booking, I can say a lot of people already shifted to doing and buying their tickets online.
Tsaka they can easily compare.
Correct. It's easy.
You can compare online prices.
That's true.
Okay, let's talk about those price points and comparing ticket prices later on. But this one is nice. The Philippine aviation industry is recovering with much boost coming from revenge tourism. What are your key observations on the current market dynamics, including domestic and international trends?
We are now about 90% of pre-pandemic level in terms of passengers.
90%. Oh,
yes.
So konti na lang, balik na sa pre-pandemic.
Yes, almost there already. In terms of behavior, the market dynamics, because of the COVID, no? So I think more people, they're choosing premium traveling, like business class, premium economy. A lot of people, we saw that shift in behavior as also.
Why? But mas marami bang silang pera ngayon, Captain Stan? Why is the shift? What do you think are the reasons?
I think first of all, it was the pandemic talaga. Because ayaw mo na may katabi. You're
so
more
health reasons, ganyan.
health conscious,
health
yes.
conscious na.
Social distancing, all those things That really started it, no? Tapos maybe, you're right also, because during pandemic, even if you have money, where will you spend it?
Exactly.
So I think there were a lot of savings during the pandemic. There are still disposable income for our consumers today. So in terms of travel, thanks also to the direction of our government to really stimulate domestic tourism as well. We've seen domestic tourism growth in the past 2 years, significant growth in the domestic tourism. It's just Filipinos traveling from one province to the other.
But what's your strategy there, Captain Stanley? For example, is there a target for domestic travel versus international, you have like, of course, I noticed also that the government, the tourism sector is really focusing on domestic travels. Do you have plans of, like, say, increasing more travels or trips to domestic destinations?
One of the challenge before, of course, until today, it's the infrastructure
airports,
of
yes.
airports and domestic stations. Some of them are not long enough to accommodate a bigger aircraft. Therefore, you have to use a smaller aircraft, and those smaller aircraft do not have the range of the bigger aircraft. Therefore, let's say we want to promote tourism in the country, but let's say going to Boracay or let's say Siargao, people from abroad, they still have to transfer through Manila or Cebu. Instead of, if it's a long runway, then if the demand is that big, then maybe we can design a flight to provide that access from foreign country direct to our most beautiful beaches and tourist destinations.
One of the priority areas, as also detailed by Secretary Go, is tourism and also infra. Do you have outlook or insights on PPPs also? Kasi it's also one of the the projects to really tap PPP. So, if long runways, you call it runways, are needed, are there specific plans by government or public sector to build those infrastructures?
Yeah, I think in the same way as our government did for Mactan as well as Manila. So it's PPP projects to make it happen sooner. We've seen Mactan to be quite successful. I'm not sure if you've been to Mactan Airport, and it's quite nice as well. It's very efficient. Yes, it's very efficient. You can just scan your boarding pass, QR. It was transformed when it was also privatized, no? So I think the same model can be applied to other airports to make it more efficient as well as to decongest Manila. So that's what we want, because we know Manila Airport is still quite congested. So if you bring in more people to Manila just to transfer to other destinations, that movement is also wasted, no? So if we can fly direct, therefore lesser carbon emission, it's also good for our planet.
Yes. So sustainability objectives, are met.
It's also good for the airline, because that also translates into fuel savings for the airline if we can fly people direct. That's, I think, one of the specialty of Philippine Airlines as well, because we have the most direct flights to international destinations.
Wow, that's perfect. But how will the other airports, especially in suburban areas or outside Metro Manila, we know that there are plans in Bulacan, in Clark. What's the interplay of these airports and its contribution to how, the aviation industry will continue to take off?
We just have to define the purpose of that airport, no? Similar models, we can see that in other countries as well. You have the London Heathrow, London Gatwick, which they're close to each other, but they can coexist.
Pero may positioning ba yun, Captain? Parang kumbaga, ito, more on the travelers business. May ganun ba yun? Ito naman, cargo. Is there a positioning? Like, say, you mentioned Heathrow. May ganun ba? Parang
cargo, we can segment that. Pwede rin yun, i-segment, no? But usually, it's a catchment area talaga. Let's say, if you're closer to the north, no? Let's say Clark, the target can be the whole northern side of Clark, no? Because that will be more convenient for those people to travel via Clark, going to different destinations.
So, which means you are decongesting Manila na, removing traffic na.
Instead of even road traffic, diba? Because if they have to drive all the way to Manila just to take their flight, it will also cause traffic.
We talked about this earlier on branding, on low-cost carriers. Kasi, diba, parang a lot of travelers before look at the lowest price or lowest air ticket. Parang they hold a significant share of the domestic market. So how does PAL plan to navigate this competition and maintain that market position?
Personally, I really think the market is big enough for all the carriers here in the country. But for Philippine Airlines, it's basically defining who we really are. Of course, we are the flag carrier, and what we really want as a brand, you mentioned earlier, and we all agreed to, Philippine Airlines, number one, is a perception of safety. When you think about branding, Philippine Airlines, it's safe. We can all say that. Even we check historical data, we know Philippine Airlines safe. So I think in the aviation industry, that's really super important and number one priority, safety. Because if you're not safe, then the branding is useless.
Pero Captain, may ano din bang ganon? May award din ba ngayon? Kasi parang we read there's an award for the most punctual airline. So ito, parang the safest, or are you looking at the figures na the number of airlines who had the most accident? May ganon ba?
May ganon din. May mga data na ganon din. Yes, meron. Nagtatrack yan. And every other year, we have IOSA safety. That's IATA. Operational Safety Audit. We do that every other year, except for the pandemic because we have to do it online. That's why it was renewed 1 year only. So this year we're going to have another. It's called the IOSA, IATA Operational Safety Audit. So that one, people from IATA will come to the Philippines and audit each process that we're doing.
So, Captain, what's the key driver for that branding on safety? Is it the maintenance of the aircraft, or is it your staff? What's the key driver? Where you get that passing standard always with this safety bodies who check it?
Talking about safety, that's a really long discussion, but I think it's a mix of everything. But it really starts from the top, no? If the mandate is the safety culture, to really promote that internally, and people are important because they're the one executing the daily operations. Kaya dapat malinaw talaga sa buong company that safety is a priority, and anyone can report any safety incidents or any observation that's happening inside the company. People, they have to care for the company, the safety. This was quite, I'm going to share with you also because I attended an IATA safety conference. They invited me to be one of the panelists as well. No? So this is quite different, but I shared this and they all find it very helpful and meaningful. I said, talking about safety, we always think about the safety of the plane, accidents, incidents, right? But I think it has to start from psychological safety of the people. If they can speak up, then imagine, if pag may na-observe sila but they're hesitant to say it, then eventually something might happen in the future, which will not be good for the company and the airline. But if everybody feels safe that they can speak out and admit their mistakes and admit areas for improvement, that will significantly help the culture to make it better. So people can freely discuss their ideas. Anyone can make mistakes, but it's about finding out the root cause as well as making sure that we solve the root cause, not just yung surface lang na band-aid solutions.
So it's really the culture of the people. But what's interesting, like on the customer side, even the customers have roles also in safety.
Correct.
Like say when they see signboards, when they see posters, talking about safety, they themselves, syempre sabi nga is ignorance is not an excuse. So bawal, like say for example, bawal mag-joke ng
Bomb joke.
Bawal ang bomb joke, yun. At this day and age, it still happens. So, but I agree with that because even customers would have that kind of feeling that they themselves would have to help in securing their own flight.
Correct.
Like say, what should be in the baggage and like say batteries or whatever liquid. So parang we make the consumers responsible then, di ba? Because sometimes during at the counter, sometimes they trust the consumer, even if whatever his statement would be.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot-kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka na mangamba. Sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Mailalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa New Era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Ang mga maiinit na balita
at rumaratsyad ng usapan ng bayan,
ihahatid namin sa 100%!
100% ang pagbabalita!
100% talakayan!
Lunes hanggang Biyernes!
Alas 5 hanggang alas 7 ng umaga!
Live na live sa Radyo Aguila 1062 Mega Manila!
At sa Net25!
100%!
Sa Net25, let's net together. Sa Net25.
Speaking of this culture, at the Philippine Airlines, it's of course the flag carrier and it is a Philippine brand. So, can you define, the culture with Philippine Airlines? Was there also a transition? You are the youngest president at 44, and I'm sure with that energy that you have, what are the traditions of Philippine Airlines that you felt was already outdated? And as a young president, what is that new vibe that you are putting into the business?
Being transparent and also the engagement with your employees. I think that's something that's kind of different today. Before, usually, if you're the boss, you have the command and control, right? You ask people to do things, right? But my styles, I prefer the engagement. So I ask because they're the people on the ground. So, di ba, alam dapat nila the process and everything, right? So, if they observe any areas for improvement, they can just freely tell you, Captain, I don't think this is the right way of doing things. I think ito na, nag-evolve na. So, it's really being mentors and mentee at the same time, no? You can be the boss, but you can also learn from your subordinates. I think that's really, really important. And we talk about digitalizations and technology as well. So the more senior ones, they might have the experience, all the experience in the company, diba? So they have like a historical knowledge and all those things. No? They experience several ups and downs. They can really share those ups and downs with the younger ones, and for the younger ones to not make the same mistakes. But the younger ones can also offer a lot because of technology and how to do things digitally. So we just have to be open-minded and try to listen. I think listening first is one of the most important things. Yeah, so to be able to have that conversation, but trying to engage them and encourage them to not take things personally, because sometimes there will be conflict in any organization. Siyempre, hindi magkasundo sometimes. But it's okay because those conflicts that's gonna help us to become better. Because if we keep on saying yes, you gave an instruction, lahat, oh yes sir, edi yun lang yun, idea na lumabas. But if they are able to suggest a lot of different ideas, then you might actually have a better solution for other things. Yeah. So
now, Captain, you speak the voice of this generation. So, are there new statements or views by your generation that speaks how the aviation industry changed or evolved? One example is, dati, pag matangkad ka, gusto mo maging flight stewardess. Yan. Or before naman, parang I wanted to be a pilot because I wanted to travel around the world, or ang forma ng damit, magpiloto. So with the generation now, based on your observation and having being in operations, what do you see is their perception of the aviation industry? Nagbago na ba? Parang kunyari, marami bang enrollment ba ngayon? Parang dati kasi, di ba, parang nagiging fad din yan eh. Kumbaga parang before it was nursing and then accounting, and then now a lot of courses in social media. What is with aviation industry that attracts the younger generation?
That's an important point, no? So because I'm actually not the youngest in the company, of course. We have Gen Z as well, right? But I'm quite in the middle. So I work with boomers, I work with millennials. I'm actually borderline millennials and Gen X. So you can see the difference quite big. Di ba, mention mo kanina, a lot of people wanted to work for the airline in the past dahil sa the perks of traveling, going other places, right? But today, I would say it's different. They want to be tied to a purpose. And it just so happened that my personal purpose is not just making the airline better, but it's really to make an impact and help the country. To imagine, you bring in more tourists, you provide more destinations to our countrymen, for our huge diaspora all over the world. You can give them their convenience of coming back. It's more of the purpose of tied to nation building. And these younger people, I would say, they're quite attracted to that. If they see a leader who cares for the world and for the country, and there's a movement right now. It's more nationalistic. Patriotism is quite. I can see that quite a lot with the younger people. So I think that's an important point because we attract talents differently already today compared to the past. Yung na-mention mo na parang, makaka-travel ka pag nandito ka. But it's not anymore. I can see that. They're not just attracted to being able to travel, but it's really being able to be part of a bigger purpose. I think that's really important to the younger ones. But it's really about the mindset as well, no? So it's not about the age, I would say, but it's about the mindset and because in today's world, things are happening so fast, di ba? Ang bilis magbago, di ba? A lot of things, ang bilis. So it's not already what you know today, di ba? It's just how fast you adapt to the changing circumstances of the world. So the more you can adapt to the new environment, learn. So continuous learning, I would say, I want to call it a value also for PAL, no? Today, na-mention na rin natin, so idikit ko na rin, because of technology and all those things, sabi nga natin, AI. As human being, I don't think we can beat AI in computing and everything, right? So definitely, mas magaling computer sa atin. Pero there are talagang tasks and yung mga routinary tasks na we can never beat AI or technology. But we can learn other things, di ba? Because we're a human being. So there are opportunities to learn new things and reinvent yourself. You will not be irrelevant forever, di ba? You can always shift to another department.
Or another passion.
Another passion, right? So I think, passion is important because you have to have that also. the passion of learning and passion of doing things para hindi tayo maging obsolete, di ba? Kasi we cannot do one thing forever, di ba? Parang kasi, especially with the technology, dapat talaga, kung nakita na natin na it's changing already, then let's learn other things, di ba? We are capable human being na we can learn new things. So, yun lagi in-encourage ko rin sila. So, don't be worried about technology na they will replace you eventually. Yeah, they can replace you in the current task. But you can reinvent yourself and learn something new, and you'll still be relevant and be able to contribute again.
Wow, this is amazing. This is very insightful. I'm awed by these statements, and some of these pronouncements. It's especially your view on the younger market, because most of the time we hear more negative things about this generation. But what is striking with me is that changing behavior towards working in a company or institutions who have purpose, and that's a great thing. You spoke earlier about safety. This one is nice. Since the EU welcomed Philippine carriers back into the European airspace and subsequent Category 1 reinstatement of the Philippines by US FAA a decade ago, how has PAL leveraged this to expand its international network?
Definitely, so many European countries really wanted us to fly there directly.
Pero sino yung pinakamarami po na pasahero from different countries?
Sa
international
in terms of Europe, European.
Not necessarily Europe.
Not Europe lang. Everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's still, for us, it's still the United States. US talaga tayo.
Pero pag sa Europe, which destination?
Number one pa rin is UK pa rin.
UK.
UK pa rin. Doon pinakamaraming Pinoy pa rin. Sa UK.
Oh, okay.
Kaya we had Manila-London direct before. But during pandemic, it was stopped because of a lot of different issues. Yes.
Now, how is this expanding your international network with this new categories or reinstatement?
So we can definitely go back. But currently, as we all know, so we touched a little bit about safety earlier, diba? But the other pillar that we really focus on is the reliability of our schedule. I think that's super important because, diba, pag may flight ka, syempre expect mo makakarating ka in certain time, di ba? So, being reliable, that you will fly, and being on time. Those are two pillars as well, no? So, just to add a little bit na the one that you mentioned earlier, aside from safety, we focus heavily on reliability to really make sure that our customers will get to their destination as planned. Malaking effect, may hotel bookings ka, meron kang meetings, meron kang...
Yes.
So, lahat yan iniisip natin for them.
Pero, Captain, nawawala na yan, yung PAL always late.
Actually, nag-improve na yun significantly, no?
So, kasi may most punctual airline award na kayo.
Yes, nag-improve na.
Yeah, but so far, we talk of Filipino time, di ba? And with that standard, I know that there's a lot of factors affecting that, di ba? But what are the factors that affect it, assuming, that's the second pillar that you are highlighting?
So related rin sa question mo earlier, that's why I mentioned that in Europe, di ba? Because currently, as we all know, every airline is affected by the supply chain issues. Definitely yung pandemic, nagka-problem lahat sa supply chain. So, hindi nag-ramp up fast enough for the recovery of the aviation industry. If we want to fly to Europe, we need a new and nicer plane, di ba? Actually, because, yun nga, if you have a newer plane, actually maraming factors, no? So, of course, pag newer plane, more fuel efficient, as well as more environmental friendly na plane, as well as mas magandang produkto mo inside, which yun yung third pillar natin na to really improve on the product that we have today. However, it's just yung supply chain lang, yung challenges that we're encountering, preventing us from doing it quickly. Because alam natin, if it's hardware, it's taking some time before we're able to really order new planes, diba? The delivery of the plane, di naman pumunta ka lang sa kasa, bukas meron ka ng
kaya sa,
kotse.
parang karaniwang commodity na.
So,
pero ganun ba? When you buy a plane, of course, there's a lot of parameters there. There are, I think, several suppliers as well.
Yes.
Are you attached to, like, say, a manufacturer? How do you, what's your parameter in securing a new one?
So number one is really the mission of the plane, no? Kung where are you flying the airplane to, diba? Kunyari, gaano kalaki yung market, so gaano kalaki ang plane ang kailangan mo. So all those things will be part of the consideration. Of course, reliability also, diba? So we want a reliable plane which can be safe as well as dependable. Kasi with the supply chain issue nga, we're encountering. So sometimes, if you have a parts, let's say parts na kailangan mo, diba? But if you ordered it, parang even the entertainment system, so I'll be really frank about it. Siyempre, some of the planes na, di ba, merong mga broken entertainment system, no? Significantly nag-improve na since last year. Pero meron pa rin, like a few percentage, meron pa rin. It's all because of supply chain. It's not that we don't want to maintain it or whatever, but it's really, we're really having challenge just getting those parts. Tying up with the manufacturer, wala naman. So we're really open to discuss with any manufacturer which can provide the plane that we need. Diba? Kung gaano kalaki, tapos where it's flying to, the mission, diba? Kasi let's say we're planning to go back to Europe, diba? We need a plane that can fly that far, diba? So lahat yun part of the consideration. Of course, the price is also a factor, diba? Yung price of the plane, but medyo competitive naman. Most of them are offering naman the same. Yes. So.
Pero, from a layman's perspective, Captain, are planes also customized to a specific country? Okay, I'll order this, but can you customize it to this size of these bodies, height? Ganun ba?
Yes, everything is customized.
So, like say, for example, if you order, parang this plane is just for you, parang with all the dimensions, parang ganyan.
Even the seats, the color, you can design it whichever way you want. Talagang kahit ano.
So hindi ito parang kumbaga parang the manufacturer builds a lot of planes and then okay, I sell this to the market. Hindi ganon.
The manufacturer will produce lang the airframe in systems, yun lang. Pero interiors, lahat yun, different suppliers yun. And different suppliers, ang daming suppliers. To choose from.
I see. And what's your fleet now? What's your fleet, domestic and international?
So domestic, for the shorter runways, diba? Like I mentioned earlier, we're using the turboprop, like the Q400 Bombardier yun. Tapos we have a lot of Airbus 320s and Airbus 321s flying domestic as well. Tsaka yung mga regional within Asia, we're also using the Airbus 321 and the Airbus 330. Yes. Tapos for longer haul naman, Boeing 777 na yun, tsaka Airbus 350. Yung mga longer.
Coming from the statements of Secretary Federico, they wanted to finish most of the priority projects within the term of PBBM. In your case po, what's the roadmap of Philippine Airlines? I'm sure you have medium to long term, but now that we see the revenge travel and we see hope in the aviation industry, as you mentioned nga, 90% is on pre-pandemic levels na. So parang konti na lang back to pre-pandemic levels. What's your roadmap? Are you looking at 3, 4, 5 years?
Oh yes, definitely. Until 2030 na, no? We're looking into 2030 already. Because by that time, there's a possibility also of having a new airport na, which can accommodate more aircraft.
Yes.
Diba? So definitely we have to plan for that. Kasama yon sa decision making. So for the longer term, of course, it's an aspiration to really go back to a lot of the destination we used to fly to. We want to grow the fleet a little bit more. Even other carriers, they're also growing their fleet, diba? So you have to maintain certain market share as well to make sure you're still relevant, no? And you're top of mind also Because if you can provide that direct flight, diba? Because Philippines, when you look at the map, it's quite strategic. Eh? You go to anywhere in Asia, north, south, east, west, you have somewhere to go to. Eh? Diba? You go to north, you're going to Japan, Korea, China, and then dito naman, you have Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore. Diba? Lahat yun parang within 4-hour radius. Eh? Diba? Tapos if you go to may Guam ka pa, diba? 3.5 hours away. So it's really very strategic. A lot of opportunities really for the Philippines. No? So pag ma-improve talaga, as Secretary Go mentioned, no? And I'm optimistic rin about it, as long as the whole country, ako kasi I believe in the power of collaboration and partnership. Eh. So I think if the whole country, diba, we can compete differently, right? In different ways. Pero when it comes to nation-building projects, diba, we have to do it together as a country, no? Parang let's work together para ma-improve yung infrastructure. Tapos, pag gumanda yon and more people will come, it's progress for everyone. Eh. It improves the economy and as well as, the lives of the Filipinos. Because if more foreign direct investment will come in, therefore, it will create more jobs. It's good for the Filipinos. As we all see rin naman, diba, our GDP growth medyo maganda, diba? So, it's one of the best within the region. Eh. So, quite optimistic about it, no? Yeah.
Wow, this is very interesting. We have last 2 minutes. Dapat bumalik ka, Captain Stanley. But, before we end this conversation, let's talk about your vision. As a very young COO, as President, PAL successfully emerged from financial restructuring. What are your key priorities for PAL's continued financial health and stability? In terms of vision, we don't necessarily change visions, diba? Because that's supposed to be long-term. But as now at the helm of Philippine Airlines, where and what is the vision now of PAL? Where do you want it to go to or fly to?
Actually, it's quite ambitious now when we talk about vision. My personal vision, and I shared with my team, so we really want Philippine Airlines to be one of the best, no? As in top airlines in the world. And I believe we can do that because when we ask ourselves, what is one thing that we're most proud of, no? It's really the people, eh. It's our hospitality of our people also, eh. Diba? So that's one thing that you cannot use AI to help you. So because it's really warmth and the care, the buong pusong alaga na sinasabi natin, na to care for our customers, and we get that quite a lot. And you can ask any foreigner, anyone, they can always tell you how great their experience, no, when it comes to engagement with our crew, our staffs, diba? It's really showcasing the values of the Filipinos. Eh. So, as we always say to the people, to the employees of Philippine Airlines, especially our frontliners, you are not just employee of Philippine Airlines, but you're ambassador of the Philippines. Eh. Because that's how they see the Philippines. Eh. Diba? If you can serve them well, you care for them, and that's the impression that these foreigners are getting. Oh, Filipino, yun lagi sinasabi niya, friendliest, parang they really care for you so much. I think yun pa lang eh, yun ang pinaka-asset natin, no, as a country, no. So therefore, talking about that, we have a big advantage na doon eh. So what we don't have today is yung third pillar eh. It's the product eh. When it comes to product in terms of government, it's the infrastructure, which we will improve. Tapos when it comes naman to the airline, it's naman the product, the planes. Some of the planes kasi previously may konting identity crisis na parang some planes parang medyo sinasabi na mukhang low cost, di ba? So that was in the past already, no? But now the direction, the vision is really make it a notch higher, really a premium airline, di ba? That can compete with any best airlines of the world, no? Dapat nandun tayo. Parang the pride of the Philippines as well. Eh. When talking about vision, that we really aspire to be as high as we can, no? With the help of course, the collaboration, the support of the government, the support of our countrymen, love our own, because in PAL, yun rin ang the direction that we're giving also to use more local products, di ba? Para to support our economy. So, end of the day, it starts from here, no? Ourselves, to make everything better.
Wow, the best of the Filipino, the best in the world. Okay, top 3 country destinations that you've been into.
France is
France?
yes. Actually, personal favorite is also Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Enjoy ako dun because of the relaxing vibe, no? So I enjoy that. And of course, Japan is quite easy as well. Diba, Japan?
And if you tell foreigners to come here in the Philippines, which destination?
Dami no?
Top 3.
So I think Cebu will be a good
Cebu.
one, no? A lot of activities happening there and tsaka more developed na. Palawan is also a good place, Palawan. And of course, Boracay also. But yun nga, parang we always talk about those beaches, but
there are more.
There are really way more activities to do here. Even in Manila, no? It's learning the culture and also the food, a lot of things to explore in the Philippines.
Before we end this conversation, if you can give also your inputs to young entrepreneurs or young leaders, what are your tips to them also to somehow bounce back, from something that's not really good in terms of financial stability to where you are now, especially that everything is going back to normal?
Number one, important is to have that passion and purpose that you have, and that's clear inside your mind all the time, what you want to achieve in the future. So that's, you just have to focus also on the long term instead of short term. We all have short term goals, but sometimes you just have to sacrifice the short term for the longer term success of your passion projects or your purpose. So you're gonna encounter many challenges along the way, definitely. So many ups and downs, so many. And I would say you just have to be resilient enough and adapt to the changing circumstances and just continue believing, and I'm sure you'll get to where you want to be.
Wow, that's the President and COO of Philippine Airlines, Captain Stanley Ng. Open for business. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Mga kaunaw, the long way 8 is over dahil 8 tawanan tayong ulit sa ating bagong season ng Lap Trip at Kulitan. May mga magbabalik na pranksters na level up ang pang-play time. Papa P, next level na rin ang mga prank challenges.
Piliin sa mga boxes na yan kung nasaan ang hotdog.
Siguradong happy ang buong family sa ating mga pranks at practical jokes na sobrang lupit sa kulit.
1, 2, 3, sip-sip. Ano kayo palasa niya? Dahan natin.
So, what are you waiting for? 8 ba o 4? 8.
Trying to buy a new iPhone. You guys have any extra money? I'll accept card reader too.
Wala pera.
Wala pera. Oh, here. QR code.
Join sa pagkikipagkulitan sa new season ng pinakamakulit at pinakamasayang prank show sa balat ng telebisyon. Kasama ang one and only prank master, 𝗗𝗶𝗴𝗏𝗏. That's me. Oh no, it's Bio. Bio only tuwing Sabado alas 8 ng gabi sa Net25.
Together sa Net25. Sa Net25.
The aviation business thrives on a delicate balance. It demands strong leadership that can navigate turbulent economic landscapes, fierce competition, and ever-evolving technology. While challenges like fuel costs, safety regulations, and geopolitical disruptions are constant threats, visionary leaders can steer their airlines towards success. By embracing innovation, prioritizing sustainability, and fostering a culture of excellence, they can ensure a smooth flight path for their companies and the industry as a whole. Ultimately, the future of aviation rests on the shoulders of capable leaders who can navigate the skies with both a keen eye for strategy and a commitment to a passenger experience that reaches new heights. And with that, our quote of the week is from Socrates. He said, "Man must rise above the earth to the top of the atmosphere and beyond, for only thus will he fully understand the world in which he lives." Thank you very much, Captain Stanley. Maraming salamat po sa inyo at maraming salamat sa isang oras na pagsama sa amin upang tunghayan ng isang makabuluhang usapan ukol sa negosyo dito lang sa Open for Business. Hanggang sa susunod na linggo, samahan nyo kaming muli dito sa Open for Business. Catch us too on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe on our social media page at Net25TV. We will bring you more insights from industry experts, thought leaders, CEOs, and featured SMEs. Together, let us help encourage business development in the Philippines. Sharpen your business acumen, feel the pulse, and set the trend for as long as you're informed and open for business. Ito po si 𝗗𝗶𝗴𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗩. Marami pong salamat. Mga ka-Net25, this is 𝗗𝗶𝗴𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗩 of Open for Business. For more updates, just click the subscribe button and follow us on Net25 social media pages at Net25TV and at Net25 Entertainment Facebook pages.